Just ahead on Retirement Results, the decisions you make now can affect your loved ones for generations to come. Today's show is all about legacy planning, and we'll test your financial knowledge with another edition of a game we call Right or Wrong. Retirement Results starts now. Once again to another edition of Retirement Results with Ford Stokes. I'm Matt McClure, joined here by Ford himself, the man of the hour. He's our Chief Financial Advisor and also the CEO of Active Wealth Management. Ford, I am just thrilled and honored to be able to co-host the show with you.
So glad you're here again. It's also great to have a licensed financial advisor as my co-host, who's Series 65 license and life and health license. And we're here to serve everybody within our community, hopefully help people protect and grow their hard-earned and hard-saved wealth so they can plan for successful retirement.
Yeah, that's right. No matter what happens, plan for the what-ifs in life, and that's really what it's all about. And today's show, as I just kind of set up there in the very beginning, is all about legacy planning. And, planning for the end of life is a difficult discussion for a lot of people. It's not an easy thing to talk about. I mean, your family doesn't want to talk about life without you. You won't necessarily want to have that discussion because you want to avoid making some difficult decisions, right? I mean, the reality is that making that plan actually benefits you and your family going forward, though.
Yeah, I would say most people we work with don't want the state making decisions on where their money goes. And so I would say it's a really good idea for people to either get a will or a revocable trust is probably what's most likely what folks should get. They can also consider an irrevocable trust as well. And we work with a service that actually introduces our clients to licensed attorneys so that they can get those legacy planning services for less money at a much lower cost. Because again, we're always trying to be cost effective for our active wealth clients.
Yeah, and I mean, it's all, again, we've talked about this on previous shows, but it's not something that you necessarily want to do like a DIY job, talk to those people who do this every day. Use the illustration once on a show. If you needed your appendix out, you're going to go to a surgeon. You're not going to try and do it yourself at home. Same thing, I think, with legacy planning as well. You want to make sure that all those T's are crossed, all those I's are dotted.
Yeah, you really want to work with a licensed attorney. We don't share fees with attorneys. We make sure that we take in all the information, make sure the attorney gets a chance to review it, and give that plan, whether it's a will or a revocable trust or an irrevocable trust. Any of those three options are available to folks, and so they can kind of direct where they want their assets to go versus letting the state make those decisions.
Yeah, and today we're going to talk about the different types of wills and trusts and things like that, kind of define those for people, and talk about creating a smart legacy for our viewers today. Let's start out, though, with our quote of the week, shall we? Here's our financial wisdom quote of the week. This time around, it comes from the late author, entrepreneur, and motivational speaker Jim Rohn, and he said this once, quote, "All good men and women must take responsibility to create legacies that will take the next generation to the level we can only imagine." And that's the goal, right?
No question. I mean, we want to make sure that, when you pass away, that your kids think, mom and dad were really on it. They really had everything, a really good plan. One of those great things you can give your kids is actually the greatest gift, the nicest gift I can ever think of, other than maybe an education and your own love for your children, your grandchildren, would be a Roth IRA. Roth IRAs are one of the two truly tax-free investments available to Americans. A lot of people think municipal bonds are tax-free, but interest from municipal bonds contribute to Medicare surcharges and additional taxation on your Social Security income. So what's truly tax-free is something that doesn't do all those things. It doesn't include taxes on your principal, your gains, or contribute to Medicare surcharges or additional taxation on your Social Security income. So those Roth IRAs are fantastic. I would much prefer to inherit a Roth IRA than inherit an inherited IRA. because the IRS would not be my partner with that Roth IRA where they are with that inherited IRA. So when you're thinking about legacy, one of the greatest things you can do is go ahead and give your kids that Roth IRA by converting a little bit over time. That's a really good idea. And then also making sure that you're on it with a will or a revocable trust or irrevocable trust. You can direct where you want your assets to go.
Yeah, and that really is, all part of that, ensuring that your assets are passed on in a tax efficient manner. First of all, like you just talked about, providing for your loved ones, of course, is the main goal in the end of the, having a legacy plan in place. But then also, making sure that your wishes are carried out, your wishes are fulfilled, avoiding things like probate, which mean that, a court is going to decide where your assets go after you graduate off the planet.
Right. Also, a lot of our clients, they have what's called transfer on death accounts, where that stuff should be transferred outside of probate. We've seen other attorneys that will try to include that money in the overall valuation of that estate, and then also try to charge 1, 2, and even 3% of the estate and include that additional money where really you don't need an attorney to be able to inherit a transfer on death account. You should be named as a primary or contingent beneficiary, and you need to be next in line to get that money. And so we just want to help people understand what their rights are and also try to reduce the costs and expenses on the front and the back end of estate planning.
Yeah. And if that piques your interest, folks, just take a look at the screen right now. You've been looking at it, the QR code that's right there on your screen, or the number on your screen as well. You can scan the QR code with your phone, or you can call that number, or just go to retirementresults.com and start yourself down that road of getting a legacy plan, a smart legacy plan in place for you and your family. All right, we're going to take our first break. When we come back, though, we're going to get into kind of the meat of the situation when it comes to both wills and trusts. Stick around. We've got much more retirement results after this. Scan the QR code on the screen with your smartphone to visit retirementresults.com/plan. That's retirementresults.com/plan. Our team is standing by and ready to start building your successful retirement plan today. Welcome back to Retirement Results. I'm Matt McClure here alongside our Chief Financial Advisor, Ford Stokes, the CEO of Active Wealth Management. And on today's show, it's all about legacy planning, which can be an intimidating topic for a lot of people, but we're here to make sense of it all for you. So let's talk about something I know that maybe our viewers really do have questions about: wills versus trusts. Both, of course, big parts of legacy plans, but what's the difference between a will and a trust?
So a will is really a legal document where you can really just talk about your wishes and detail your wishes of where you want your money to go. Whereas a trust can give some certain protections, whether it's protections against debtors or people that we owe money to, and also kind of have a trustee for it. And also you can direct things, and you can say, hey, if I've got a younger child or a slightly immature heir, I can direct through the trust a certain amount of money gets paid to that person every year, instead of them getting all at once. Mm-hmm. And so it's kind of a way to kind of set up a structure so you can really give away your assets exactly the way you want them to. And an irrevocable trust is one that you can't go back on, and you are literally married to it until you pass away. And there's a lot of advantages with an irrevocable trust versus a revocable trust, but there's also advantages with a revocable trust versus a will. And what we've seen, Matt, is that it seems like estate attorneys are charging more and more money these days for the estates and legacy plans. And we want to try to help people get the plans they want for their legacy, whether it's a will or a revocable trust or a irrevocable trust, at a cost-effective amount, but still work with a licensed attorney. You and I are not licensed attorneys. We don't pretend to be one on TV here. But we are here to make sure that we can introduce them, gather all the information, get it to the attorney so they can review the plan, and help people really get going on their legacy plans. And also on the financial side, as we talked about in the last segment, we really want to help people try to consider a Roth IRA or life insurance or both, so that their heirs can inherit tax-free assets.
Yeah, the great gift that you can give to your family is that tax-free benefit. I mean, it's just it's great, and something that they will definitely appreciate when the time comes. And so let's take and sort of break things down in a little bit more detail there with wills and trusts. So first of all, wills. You described that a will a second ago as that legally binding plan for your affairs. How does it work? How do you could I write a will on a napkin right now,
No,
or like how does that work?
well, it might help. You might want to get it notarized, but what you ought to do is sit down with an attorney or sit down with us. You can just get an appointment with you or me, and then we walk them through our service where we can then introduce them to a licensed attorney that will review their documents. But what will happen is the attorney will prepare the will according to your wishes, and then after that, it's say you pass away years and years and years later, that legally binding document will be there as a roadmap or a guide for the probate court to consider everything and make sure that all of the assets are distributed as the deceased asked for within that legally binding document. And I think it's a really great thing to avoid the state directing where the assets go. Also, one other point I want to make, if you do, let's say you've got 4 kids and you don't get a will, your 4 kids are going to get 25% of the assets equally. That's just how that goes. Now, if you have an estranged child or you didn't think one of them could handle some of the money or whatever you wanted to do, you wouldn't have that opportunity to do that if you didn't have a will or a revocable trust or irrevocable trust.
Right. And that is one of the main points I want to get across here, because as I said earlier, it can be a difficult or uncomfortable conversation, but dying without a will in place can create a really bad situation for a lot of people, a lot of your loved ones. Leaving them in just a more difficult place than they would have otherwise been.
Yeah. Also, we have a product called the Beneficiary Liquidity Plan, where it'll take care of all of the funeral arrangements. You can fund it. It earns about 1% a year. But what's great about it is upon your passing, the funeral director signs an affidavit and your family gets paid that money within 24 to 48 hours so that your family doesn't have to go into their pockets to pay for your funeral. And if you have what we call a BLP, a beneficiary liquidity plan, you've got Roth IRAs or life insurance set up as well, and you have a will or revocable trust or an irrevocable trust set up, we feel like you're really just ironclad in your legacy planning. We call that a smart legacy plan. But the bottom line is, for all of our viewers out there, they're going to be able to say, you know what, I have confidence that my kids, when the last of the 2 of us pass away, they're going to go, you know what, mom and dad were on it.
Yeah. That is great. That makes you feel good. And then you know that your kids are going to be set up for success in their lives as well. So everybody is taken care of, the living and the dead at that point.
Right. Well, in our opinion, it's almost a part of the American dream.
Yeah.
The American dream is it's usually defined as you purchase your home, you pay your home off, you've been able to raise your kids within your home, get them going towards adulthood and college or making money, and they can go out on their own and hopefully get their own home. But that's really part of the American dream. The other parts of the American dream are, in our opinion, is to getting debt free. And so therefore you can make the decisions, because really money is not there just to pay your bills. Money's there to either make you money, but also help buy the experiences, buy that more TIME that you can spend with your family and friends. In our family, Matt, we spell love TIME, and we want to spend as much time with our girls as we can. My wife and I have twin girls, or juniors in high school and competitive cheerleaders, and we've spent a lot of time with them at cheer events and all these kinds of things. And they won state last year in 6A, which was really neat and fun. But I will tell you, we're really worried. I'm really worried about my wife, actually, because when they go to college, it's going to be a kind of a postpartum for both of us, because we really try to spend a lot of quality time with our kids. And you're going to want to do the same thing during retirement and with your kids and your grandkids.
All right. Well, you can actually reach out to us if you want to get started along that route, folks. You go to retirementresults.com, click on the contact page there, or you can scan the QR code on your screen. or call that number that's on the screen right there as well to reach out to the team at Active Wealth Management. All right, well, when we come back, we're going to meet you at the intersection of estate planning and retirement. That's right, the two do intersect, and we'll talk about it when Retirement Results continues. Welcome back to Retirement Results with Ford Stokes. Here alongside Ford, I'm Matt McClure. Now remember, scan the QR code on your screen to get in touch with us. You can reach out for a no obligation consultation about your retirement, wealth, or estate planning needs. You can also call the number that is on your screen as well. Well, if you are just joining us, we've been focusing on estate planning this time around and leaving a smart legacy for your loved ones when you are gone. And Ford, there is a point where retirement planning and estate planning intersect in a big way. You mentioned it earlier, it's the Roth IRA.
It's a great product for you as a retiree because you can delete the IRS from being your partner in retirement. So let's say you and your spouse want to go on a cruise and it's going to cost $10,000. Well, if you take $10,000 out and let's say you're in the 24% bracket or even 20% bracket for easy math for me today, that means $2,000 of that $10,000 is going to go towards the U.S. federal government and to your state income taxes. But if you have a Roth IRA and you take out the same $10,000, you get $10,000 to spend on your cruise. So I would say it is much more beneficial to delete the IRS out of being your partner in retirement over a 5 to 10 year period. Usually it's about 5 to 7 years. And we like to convert money at the 24% bracket and down. You know, people do owe taxes within a quarter of when they do the conversion. And that conversion is considered ordinary income for that year. But it's great to be able to go ahead and do that. And as Deborah, who is our office manager, she says she's willing to take the tax bite now rather than take the tax bite later. And here's how it really works. When you do a Roth IRA and you've stopped paying taxes after, let's say, 5 years, but if you have a 35-year retirement, you don't have to pay taxes over the next 30 years. And what I would ask our viewers to consider is, do you really want to be paying taxes 20 plus years after you last worked on your income when you're just taking income from your IRA? I would say the answer to that is no. Also, one other thing that other people really don't realize is that the IRS is truly your partner within that IRA, and all that money within your IRA is not all of your money.
Yeah, it's very true. And so let's talk about that, kind of the differences between the traditional IRA and of course, in our discussion today, talking about it as an inherited IRA, right? Because if you're passing it along to the next generation, that is what it becomes, and a Roth IRA. So talk about traditional IRAs or inherited IRAs first. And what are maybe some of the advantages there that people might want to consider if they wanted to consider that instead of a Roth? Are there any advantages over a Roth IRA?
Early on, let's say when you do a 401k or a 403b or a 457 or a SEP IRA or a simple IRA, any of those retirement accounts out there, what's great about those is it allows you to grow your money tax deferred. So you don't have taxes on it each year. You also can reduce the amount of ordinary income you have for that tax year. So therefore, you're going to be paying less in taxes for that individual tax year. The problem is that as that large amount grows, instead of paying taxes on the seed, you're paying taxes on the harvest. And obviously, the seed is much smaller than the harvest, right? And so you got to be really careful about how long you're going to stick with this IRA thing. And the other thing is you want to try to get out before 73, because now with the Secure Act 2.0, we're looking at, our RMD age, where required minimum distributions are required to be withdrawn from your accounts starting at age 73. Some people are taking it way before then because they need income, but the RMDs kick in. So you wouldn't want to do conversions and the RMDs because the conversions don't count as a required minimum distribution. You have to do that in addition. So instead of taking out the traditional 4%, you might be taking out another 5+% as you get older. The U.S. government thinks we're going to live from age 70 and a half another 27.2 more years. It's a uniform application to all of us, and they want those tax dollars within that 27.2 years. So I will just tell you, the advantages for an IRA are early on, the tax deferred growth, where you're not having to pay taxes on your capital gains each year. That's really helpful. The problem is later on in life, do you really want to be paying, as I said in the last segment, do you really want to be paying the taxes for another 20 to 30 years after the last day you worked and the last day you really truly generated your own ordinary income? And I would venture to say the answer is no.
Yeah. And so the Roth comes in that and offers folks, a lot of different benefits over the IRA, the traditional IRA, especially later in life. As you said, that is the tax-free. The withdrawals on that in retirement are tax-free. And then when you pass it along to that next generation, that benefit carries through to them.
Yeah, so here's some math on that. So if you have an IRA of over $400,000 and you fully implement a Roth ladder conversion over a 5 to 7 year period, it is likely you're going to save over 6 figures in retirement, over $100,000 or more.
Wow.
It ends up being a little bit over 40% in actual savings of your entire IRA amount if you implement a strategic Roth ladder conversion, specifically with the good folks here at Active Wealth Management. We're happy to help you do that. We do that on the front end for free. We help people plan when they're going to implement their Roth ladder conversion, even before they start working with us, because we want to make sure that they are prepared for retirement. Because as fiduciaries, our relationship starts with even folks when we just meet them, even before they become clients.
And all of the different reports and illustrations and plans that you get as part of that initial consultation, it's a $1,500 value provided at no cost to our viewers when they just go for that no obligation consultation. And you can do it right now, folks. You could just scan the QR code on the screen, call the number that's on the screen as well, or just go to retirementresults.com and get your results in advance retirement plan from Active Wealth Management. All right, stick around. We've got much more to come. We're going to play a little right or wrong when we get back. Sam Davis will join us for that. It's everybody's favorite financial game show, and it's coming up right after this. Stick around. Welcome back to Retirement Results. I'm Matt McClure here with Ford Stokes. We are joined by our very own Sam Davis, a licensed financial advisor with Active Wealth Management as well, to lead us in another round of everybody's favorite financial game show, Right or Wrong.
All right, Ford, the first one is for you. Is this right or wrong? There's no tax treatment difference in passing an inherited IRA versus an inherited Roth IRA. Right or wrong?
Well, that's actually wrong. And it's probably good news that it's wrong, especially for those people that were smart enough to go ahead and convert some of their IRA money over to Roth IRA money, right? Then here's the deal. With an inherited IRA or an inherited Roth IRA, the one similarity is the heir must take all the money within 10 years of the death of the deceased, okay? But the difference is with the IRA, the IRS is their partner in retirement and a partner in that inherited IRA account. And unfortunately, that can be very expensive because also that hits the heir usually, or those children when they're usually in their prime earning years. And that can get very expensive, could even take them up to the next tax bracket. Whereas if they inherit an inherited Roth IRA, they have to take the money over 10 years, but there is no taxation on the dollars that they take from the inherited Roth IRA. So it's a really big gift that you can give your kids if you can give them an inherited Roth IRA.
That's such a good tool out there. The Roth is really a superpower when it comes to planning for retirement. Matt, the next one's for you. Is this right or wrong? Retirees can actually ensure that their heirs can avoid the legal probate process by setting up a revocable trust to handle their assets. Is that right or wrong?
That one is actually right. And, that it's actually good news because that's a great tool and a legal vehicle for people to be able to use to make sure that their distributions or their assets rather are distributed in the way that they want them to be after they are gone. And that does help you avoid the probate process. And as a matter of fact, as Ford and I were discussing a little bit earlier, you can call the number on your screen, or you can scan the QR code on your screen, or you can go to retirementresults.com. And folks can go to any of those locations or use any of those methods to contact us. And we'll be glad to help you out in making those sort of plans a reality for you.
Yeah, that is really good news because everybody out there wants to have a successful retirement, but they want to make sure that their family, their loved ones are looked after someday after they're gone. Ford, I've got one more for you. Is this right or wrong? We know that life insurance is insurance against the primary breadwinner dying too soon. But it is also true that many types of annuities, such as fixed index annuities, are insurance against living longer than expected and that longevity risk. Is that right or wrong?
That is right. Annuities are there to make sure that it's insurance against you living too long so you don't outlive your money. You can actually generate an income that you can never outlive. Even if the account value has gone to zero, that annuity company is contractually bound to continue to pay you. Also, we try to stay away from and avoid variable annuities because they have high expenses between 3 and 6%, whereas fixed index annuities are usually 0 to 1%, much lower in fees. But also, variable annuities are mutual funds wrapped into an annuity, and that is a security that where your principal is at risk. Whereas a fixed index annuity, your account value is not at risk. Your principal is not at risk, and you can turn on income whenever you'd like, and also you can enjoy that income that you can never outlive, which was really helpful for people that don't want any burdens on their children later on in retirement.
Yeah, just like with Social Security and just like with if you have a pension out there, fixed indexed annuities, as long as you live, those checks keep coming. And that's something that a lot of our clients really love.
Yeah, absolutely. Peace of mind is paramount there, and you can't put a price on that. Well, Sam, thank you again so much for leading us in another edition of Right or Wrong.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
absolutely. I'll be back next time.
Yeah, absolutely. And we look forward to that as well. Well, folks, that is all the time that we have for this edition of Retirement Results. Now, if you have any questions about any of the topics that we've discussed on this week's show, once again, you can get in touch with us at the number on your screen or by visiting retirementresults.com. You can also scan the QR code. It's also on the screen. For Ford Stokes and Sam Davis, I'm Matt McClure. Thanks so much again for joining us. We'll see you again next time for more Retirement Results. Visit retirementresults.com/plan. Our team is standing by and ready to start building your successful retirement plan today.
Ford Stokes and Active Wealth Management are not affiliated with or endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency. Information provided is not intended as tax or legal advice and should not be relied on as such. You're encouraged to seek tax or legal advice from an independent professional. Any comments regarding safe and secure products and guaranteed income streams refer only to fixed insurance products. They do not refer in any way to securities or investment advisory products. Fixed insurance and annuity product guarantees are subject to the claims paying ability of the issuing company and are not offered by Brookstone. Any bonuses mentioned may be subject to additional restrictions and regulations based on the offering annuity company. You may not receive the bonuses if the contract is fully surrendered or if traditional annuitization payments are taken. And if the policy is partially surrendered, it could result in a partial loss of bonuses. Because these are bonus annuities that may include higher surrender charges, longer surrender charge periods, lower caps, higher spreads, or other restrictions that are not included in similar annuities that don't offer a bonus feature.